clearly does matter. My thing would be I want them to put the players in a position where when they do execute, it's more than 8 fucking yards. Let A.J. Brown go. Let Jalen Hurts go. We got a couple super chats we'll get to here, Johnny Mac. A lot of them. Wow. Here's Chris. What's up, Chris? Appreciate everybody this morning. Hit that like button, everybody. We're going to continue this talk because I do think it's important. And I got a question about Patullo as well coming up. Chris Turek says, how can you say coaches are overrated? Coaches need to coach up players so they get better. Look at Darnold, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones. Coaches matter.
I didn't say they didn't matter. Number one, I said talent matters more than coaching, and by a wide margin. By a wide margin. Your goal, I say it all the time, if you listen to this show, the goal of a coach is to get a player a little bit farther than where he would have went on his own from a talent perspective. That's where the technique and fundamentals come into it. And the Eagles are great at it, by the way.
Don't you think that there is like a bigger downside for coaching in terms of
what I will say?
Darnold, though, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, both of them have clearly showed the talent, right? Like you just said, the talent's more important. You got to make them a little bit better. But if you don't have the right coach or the right team, I guess team would probably be more
organization. Well, you have to build the right way. Yeah, I bring up O'Connell's quote all the time. More organizations fail young quarterbacks than young quarterbacks fail organizations. Number one, you have to have an offensive line. You have to block. Quarterback can't do anything.
Daniel Jones, that's the funniest story.
No offense, Chris, but I'm the one who says all the time, look at Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He didn't get bad. The Chiefs couldn't block the Eagles. And his other Super Bowl loss against Tampa Bay, same thing. He didn't get bad. They couldn't block Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's 2 Super Bowl losses to the Giants, same thing. Front four dominated. This may be the greatest quarterback of all time. You can't play offense if you can't block people. Coaches are very important, but the point is, like Jalen Carter is a perfect example of this. If Jalen Carter ever gets the technique and fundamentals down to match his physical ability, look the hell out.
Yeah.
Because he's not the most fundamentally gifted player in the world right now, and he still dominates. Now, he's getting better, and he's getting better, and that's the job of Clint Hurt, to get him better, to get him as technically sound as possible. Coaches matter. They don't matter when compared against the talent. Like if you're blaming Nick Sirianni for this team losing on a particular day, and you will, because Eagles fans are Eagles fans and football fans are football fans, and they don't want to blame the players. They want to blame the coaches, and that's fine. That's part of the job. But yeah, talent means more than coaching, which is what I said. And that's easy. Every coach will admit that.
Right.
Nick Sirianni will tell you that 100 ways to Sunday. Players, meaning talent, plays, meaning play calling, more game planning, formations, scheming is what he's saying. When he says players, play, plays, formations. Players are always first. Always, always, always. And if you don't have talent, Bill Belichick may be the greatest coach that ever lived. When the talent started to atrophy,
done.
Brian
Fleming checks in. Good point. Brian Fleming checks in. What's up, Brian? It's not execution when we run inside zone into a 7-man box. We did do that. 5-0 lineman, even with a fullback or a tight end, only Dallas can block. 12 and 13 personnel is irrelevant. 7 over 6.
Yeah, well, 12 and 13 personnel is irrelevant. I mean, come on, Brian.
They do run that a lot.
Well, because they have Saquon Barkley. Yeah. There's such little things, like I bring up the injuries to Johnny Wilson and Ben Van Sumeren every once in a while. Like those are bigger than people realize. But as far as, the modern game, here's the thing, play calling and because evidently you, Douglas, set this up yesterday. The way they play the modern game, most, and certainly the Eagles, is every play call has 2 options for the most part. Not when you're down 19 points where you're throwing out half of it, and that's when you hear kill, 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 or can, depending on the team. What you're doing is toggling from one play to another
Right.
run to pass or pass to run. Basically, it's the quarterback's job to look at that front and say, well, this is going to, if it's a run play, one play is dominant. So you might come out of the huddle with the run play being the dominant play and then kill to the pass, or vice versa. And that's where if you hear watching the broadcast, you'll hear kill, 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 or can. But they're changing the play at the line of scrimmage. But the play call is baked in with two different plays. So they're going from one play inside, outside zone. It's not that complicated, because that's another thing. Modern offenses aren't that complicated, or the pass play off of that. So, there's a misunderstanding of what's going on. But as far as execution, look, everything is about execution in the NFL. So when you say it's not execution, it doesn't matter if it's the Philadelphia Eagles or the Carolina Panthers or whoever you think is the worst team in football. Everything is about execution.
No, I know, but there obviously different plays, if executed, have different levels of upside. I think they got to call things that have that big upside. And then,
well, I mean, people love innovation. You saw Detroit run the option. You're not going to see that from the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. So let's talk about Detroit. If you saw that touchdown, where, by the way, even to the point of execution, Jared Goff hands off the football vertically to, I think it was Gibbs who pitched it to St. Brown. He even did it differently, the handoff, so Gibbs didn't have to fumble with the football to get the option out to St. Brown. It was perfectly executed. Now, nobody's more creative, nobody's more innovative, nobody's more explosive than the Detroit Lions. Now, go back to when they got eliminated, which had more to do with talent because they were so up against it defensively because of all the injuries. But
right.
Go back to the game. They were still biting and clawing and scoring a bunch of points, and they had a chance to get back in the game. And here comes Ben Johnson running a trick play, putting the football in the hands of Jameson Williams with the season on the line. Not Jared Goff, Jameson Williams. And he throws the ball, interception, season over. Be careful what you wish for. When that shit works, it's really, really cool. And you're going to be on ESPN and everybody's going to play the highlights on TikTok. What a tremendous, innovative play. And it is. But be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you. Here we go with Prince. Prince, member for 13 months. Thank you, Prince. J-Mac, what are you talking about? Jalen clearly said we did it to ourselves. He's saying they're being too conservative on offense. We need to be more aggressive. So clearly they changed something.
Yeah, the circumstance of the game changed. Prince, you're here every stinking day. Are you going to sit here and tell me that I haven't been the one saying they're too conservative? You watch this show every day. Every day. To my knowledge.
By the
way, I appreciate it.
It's too conservative.
By the way, I appreciate it, but give me a break. What changed? The circumstance. And if they're down 19 points in Tampa, they're going to be throwing it all over the lot. And if they're successful, you're going to love it. That's what changed.
I need to see more balance. That's where I'm at with it. You're not wrong about the circumstance change what happened in that game, but I mean, come on. We got to be more balanced. Prince, thank you, brother. ZZZ checks in. What's up, brother? It truly sounds like you're being delusional about the play calling, John. We all saw a shift, and that's due to taking the leash off. Trust your quarterback.
I'm delusional. You guys are delusional. First of all, you don't even know what play is being called. You don't know how the play is being called. You don't know what I just explained. And you're saying I'm the delusional one.
The play calling did change because of the circumstance of the game.
Yes, it did from that standpoint. But from his standpoint, what he's thinking about is, and correct me if I'm wrong, ZZZZZ, correct me. You're talking, they changed it up. So they threw out everything they game planned for. They threw out their entire game plan and changed everything in the second half of week 3 at 2-0. And I'm the delusional one. teams don't throw out game plans. You can hear Vic Fangio when he gets, why don't you blitz, Vic? He'll explain it. Well, they're in the game plan. I didn't have to blitz in the Super Bowl because we didn't need to blitz. When you talk to Kevin Patullo or Kellen Moore or Shane Steichen or Brian Johnson, yeah, the plays are in. The plays are in the game plan. Maybe they don't get to them because of the circumstance of the game. Maybe they do get to them because of the circumstance of the game. If you think that they just went out in the second half and ripped everything up and drew shit up on the ground because Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and I'm the one who pointed out this all the time, and I love A.J. He's been talking about it for well over a year, how conservative this team is. I can't help you if you think they're changing shit at the halftime. Big Fangio's of the week prior.
Yeah,
Big Fangio told you, forget about me. Halftime adjustments are the most overrated thing.
So what the players are saying, based on what you're saying to me, and I do understand what you're saying, the players want to be more aggressive without having to get into the circumstance where they have no choice.
Correct.
To be
and by the way, I agree with them.
I do too, 100%. I mean, come on. We shouldn't need to go down by 19 in order to unlock and turn this on.
You see why I get frustrated? Because I'm talking about this stuff all last season, but they're winning. That's not a problem. Now it's a problem.
Here's ZZZ. He followed up before. He said, crazy what comes out of letting Jalen Hurts pass the ball and getting it into AJ's hands. Even their best players know they're playing not to lose.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. If you bring it like
that's
that.
where I think we're John is,
because they're very hyper focused on the turnover. That's what they're hyper focused on, the turnover ratio. And to their credit, again, 20 game span, pretty big sample size. It's 40-9 now. 40 giveaways, 40 takeaways, 9 giveaways. That's pretty fucking good. And that's what they're hyper focused on. If you ask me personally, too hyper focused on. I agree. But yeah, I get frustrated when I say this shit, and then all of a sudden it's successful when they're down 19 points. It's almost like they should have lost this game. If you want change. But
see, I'm of the belief, and maybe this is optimistic Eagle Zander, but I'm of the belief that what you saw and the stark difference between half one and half two and that circumstance is enough to make them shift moving forward without ever having to get to that. We lost the game, so now we have to look in the mirror. We won the game, but we also see the problems with the game. Let's adjust before it bites us in the ass. That would be my take coming out of that game.
Well, that's their mentality, and hopefully they realize they've been a little bit too conservative. I could see that happening, but they're still going to be a run first team that leans on their offensive line and the running back until circumstances change. Now, they haven't been able to run it as effectively. So maybe at some point the same thing happens in reverse and say, well, it's just not working. We got to shift. That's possible. But ultimately, I think the offensive line's too good if everybody stays healthy, or Landon gets healthier, and Saquon's too good to continually be bottled up. So is it boring at times? Yes. Is it frustrating at times? Yes. But I mean, I know they think that's their strength,
right?
And they're going to lean on it.
Yeah, I proven otherwise. I know what you're saying. William says, what's up, William? Thanks for the big super chat, man. Appreciate everybody, guys, for all the supers today. The support of the show does not go unnoticed. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. William says, it is simple. Everybody on God's green earth knows that you stop Saquon first. So you have to pass to open up the run this year. We cannot cut and paste last year's offense like nobody watched us play and win it all. Balance. I agree with that. I agree. I don't think you can just look at, hey, we're 19-1. And a lot of those wins, obviously, most of them came in last season. Let's just do the same thing. That's where I don't like the approach this year. You got to evolve.
I think the biggest difference this year with defenses playing the Eagles, and it's a big difference, is the blitzing.
Meaning that they're more successful blitzing, or that the Eagles are struggling more with the offensive line?
Well, they're blitzing a shitload. Like, it's almost 50% of the Eagles dropbacks they're facing blitzes.
Yeah.
That was not the case last year. The heavy boxes were the case. Like, they ran into nobody played more heavy boxes against the Eagles than the Rams, and they gave up 460 rushing yards.
Yeah.
The
Which
biggest
would tell you
difference,
the offensive line was blocking better though last year, because heavy box is tough to get through, but once you get through it, that's how you get.
Well, that's exactly that's how you get to 70-yard runs.
Yeah.
And Saquon talked about that. But their biggest problem offensively has been inability to handle the blitz. And until they fix it, I think certainly Todd Bowles is going to do it. Certainly, Brian Flores is going to do it coming up. Those two guys, until they start handling that better, and it's a conflation of things. It's, the offensive line hasn't been as good. Landon's not as healthy. Saquon's not as good. Pass protection. Jalen's not getting the ball out on time. Jalen's not seeing the sight adjustments on time. It's tough to see until the all 22 comes out, and it does each game. Sometimes it's the receiver's fault, and they're not breaking off. Sometimes they're not on the same page, which is why they talked about communication, which all comes down to execution. But people don't want to hear it because it's boring. But that's every NFL game.
Yeah, I got you.
Literally. So when people say execution doesn't matter, I mean,
well, no, it clearly does matter. My thing would be, I want them to put the players in a position where when they do execute, it's more than 8 fucking yards. Let AJ Brown go. Let Jalen Hurts go. Now, if they're not if you're telling me they're not executing,
if somebody's got a zero blitz on, there's 2 ways to handle it. A, the ball's got to come out quick, so it's going to be 8 yards. Or B,
is it just me? Or go ahead, finish up.
Or B, it's going to be a go route down the field, and they've been very successful with those go routes down the field. Maybe they should just chuck it up.
Is it just me, or does it feel like, or it seems like to me, they have nothing built into the offense to handle those zero blitzes with a quick release for Jalen? Like, it's like, look to the go route, or it ain't, or nothing.
Wow. But that's not the goal. I'll just say that. Look, anybody can go look up the Phillip Rivers Indianapolis offense. Go look at it. Go look at it. Go look at it.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's more quarterback based, like Jalen has to call them at the line of scrimmage?
Yes, it is. Well, you got to be in the same page with the receivers. Sight adjustments.
It does feel like he does a lot at that line of scrimmage, more so now than I've ever seen him do. So I don't know. Maybe that's one of the areas.
Well, he does more when it comes to calling protections. When it comes to killing plays from run to pass, vice versa, he does more than he used to. When it comes to zero blitzes, full-fledged blitzes, unaccounted for rusher. Remember what an unaccounted for rusher is. He's not unaccounted for. It means you're sending one more player than the offense can block, and he's unaccounted for. Well, he really is accounted for. He's the quarterback's responsibility. In other words, you have to decipher that, and you have to get the ball quickly. The easiest way to do it is throw right behind the blitzer.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
So
tell AJ Brown a drag route, simple.
So, well, not a drag route. It's got to be quick. On a zero blitz, generally, if it's getting home, it's got to be really quick. So it's generally, the sight adjustment you throw right. The Phillip Rivers of the world, are very good at that, and the ball comes out very, very quickly.
Why not the drag route?
They're not good. They're not good at that.
Mesh route? What do you mean?
They're not good at it. They're not good at it. I mean, they're a great team, but they're not good at that. And that's why people are that's, by the way, why people are trying to take advantage of it. That's what people do in this league. They say, wow, this is a great team, but they're not very good at this. Let's pound that. And I've said this, it's very, for some reason, it's very counterintuitive to people, but it was counterintuitive to me that everybody looked at Spags in the Super Bowl and said, well, he stopped Saquon, so everybody's going to copy him. Well, why would you copy him when the Eagles just destroyed them. They haven't really changed the run defense. They're clearly preaching gap control because that's the issue with Saquon because he tries to cut everything back. So you have to be very disciplined and you have to keep your gaps. So teams are definitely trying to be more focused when it comes to gap discipline. So I think that part of it is being stressed a lot. But then from the other aspect, the idea is to blitz and then zone it up behind it, and make the quarterback indecisive, which I think has worked for the most part early in the season. And again, the circumstance of the Rams and everybody, if you got $99, it's not just giving us media people. Anybody can get this stuff. You can go look at Game Pass. You can go look at all 22.
You don't even have to pay the 90. You can pay monthly. I think it's $15 a month.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on.
So if forget about, I know it's hard, but forget about the Eagles. Just look at the Rams. Look how the Rams played in the first half defensively, and then look how the Rams played in the second half defensively.
Boy, Matthew Stafford, bro, he basically lost in that game. He had some chances to put that game away.
Compared to, and by the way, to talk about talent, I think it was either his first or second pass of the game. Jalen Carter was all over him.
Yep.
And I don't think he was the same moving forward. He sped up immediately. He's like, oh shit. And then everything was sped up.
Get that ball out. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. William again. William, thanks for all your support today, brother. A lot of super chats from you. We appreciate it, man. I'm going to get to every single one of them. William says, let this sink in. We are a Ferrari. I agree. If AJ, Devontae, Goddard, Barkley, and Hurts all score one touchdown, 35 points with passing just over 200 yards, we in essence did that in a half. Imagine if we start out and flip our mindset. See, I agree. This is my problem with their approach. I know it's perfect world thinking, but I do believe we have the players I know it's the NFL. I know you're not going to kill every team. I know you're not going to, but you could significantly, and as you always say, John, improve your margin for error. Let your defense start playing more aggressive to make some plays on that. Like, I think they can dictate these games way more than they do.
Well, I agree with all that. What I don't agree with is ignoring, like, you certainly don't develop a game plan based on, we have to get AJ a touchdown, Devontae a touchdown, Dallas a touchdown. I mean, look, so much of football is reactionary, certainly defensive football, because the offense has the trump card. They know what they're doing. But so much of football is reactionary. You have to see early in the season, especially you get, and especially when you're good. Like I know the Eagles didn't expect to see this much blitzing early in the season. Didn't expect it, unscouted, because they don't know how teams on their schedule are looking at combating them. And they thought it was going to go in a different direction. They thought people were going to be hyper focused on stopping Saquon, and they could do probably a little bit more, I would say, coming into this season. And all of a sudden, they get to the season, and here comes Katie bar the door, and they're trying to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket. They're more. It's interesting. It's actually a compliment to Jalen Hurts in a lot of ways, because they're way more concerned about keeping Jalen Hurts in the pocket. And Dallas was very ineffective early because they had the plan right, but they didn't again execute it. They lost their rush discipline. Boy, people hate that. But the plan was to keep them pinned up as much as possible. And that's been the plan for every team so far. That was the plan of Spags. Was crazy. Yeah, 14-0 blitzes. 14. I.S. Lane's been playing for 13, 14 years. Never saw it before. Ever. So you talk about unscouted looks. The Eagles weren't expecting 14-0 blitzes. And then last week again, the Rams do the same thing early and then beg off because they have a big lead. And that contributed to everything as well. But the unscouted looks. And now, you got guys like Bowles, and I brought up Todd Bowles and specifically Brian Flores because they're two of the best defensive coordinators in football. B, they're very famous for being aggressive and blitzing. And C, they might know that and change. You might see Brian Flores show up with a three-man rush and 8 guys in coverage. He's a whack job, that guy. He'll do crazy stuff. Now Todd's a little bit more.
Yeah, he's a whack. I almost love it though, John.
And by the way, I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's not a follower.
He's a madman, man.
He is not.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what anybody else is doing. He believes in himself. He believes in his philosophies. But Todd's probably more, you can probably count on it a little bit more with Todd.
Looking like Flores might have been right about Tua too. That's a different conversation, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's a bad way. Though, as a head coach, that's a bad way to handle things.
No,
I think he's completely right on the player, but that's a bad way to handle.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
But I love Flores. I say it all the time.
Yeah, me too. All right, we got to keep rolling, John. These super chat, you guys are killing it today. I appreciate everybody. Here's Eduardo at the start. He said, "Y'all think the Eagles take a page from the Rams playbook and run Barkley on sweep runs instead of up the middle, whereas Vita is lurking?"
No, I mean the Eagles are pretty inside zone, outside zone.
Yeah.
I mean he'll run some outside zone. It might affect it a little bit more, but where Saquon's greatest effectiveness is the cutback. So, I mean, if you're running outside zone, you're cutting right back into Vita. So it might work in different ways, but I mean Saquon's great. I'm not concerned about Saquon. As a runner, I might be concerned about pass protection.
Yeah, me too.
But
definitely not concerned about him as a runner. He clearly looks explosive. The holes just haven't been there so far.
But he's more of a cutback guy. So, I mean, they're going to run what they run. And Vita's a very good run stopper. But, the Eagles are I'll tell you, I use the term hubris. They have a lot of confidence in themselves. Like there are very few people that they look at and say, Mike is one of them. But very few are in that list. And Vita Vea doesn't make that list.
Yeah. Eduardo, appreciate it, brother. Good super chat there. William said the schedule is a blessing. I want all the smoke. I think it's going to get a little easier after this.
Wow, it gets much easier.
Well, we do have a little bit of a gauntlet after the bye week. I think you got the Packers in there. You get the Lions in there. You get some teams, so that'll be good. Sasha, here's Sasha. What's up, Sasha? Johnny Mac, would Howie pay Jordan Davis if he keeps up the same level or close throughout the season? I'm going to go ahead and answer first and say yes.
Yeah, that's dependent. I realize people are excited. He's having a great start to the season. Great play. I mean, phenomenal. But I mean, I'll tell you what, if I'm Jordan Davis, I'm going the Milton Williams route and saying, all right, let me see how this plays out. Because if he gets to the open market, somebody might be willing to go past where the Eagles want to go. So, I always try to stress this is a two-way street. The Eagles may have seen enough to where they're making the calls right now saying, hey, how about 16 million?
Yeah, right.
And if I'm Jordan Davis, I
ain't taking it.
Nope. So
no way. He's going to get 22 on the open market, man.
So, I mean, it's a catch-22. If he keeps playing like this, he probably prices himself out. Because remember, they got to pay Carter.
I think he's already improved his market his value in the
open
market because of the lure of the game and all that stuff does matter. Not every other team.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm sure his agent is now, hey, maybe he likes it here. He's playing with a bunch of his best friends. He's having tremendous success. That's all he's used to with Georgia and the Eagles. Maybe that plays into it. And maybe he's more willing to give them a little bit of a hometown discount. But I'm saying personally, if I'm Jordan Davis, I'm waiting this out, man. I'm like, somebody's going to back up the Brinks truck if he keeps playing like this.
Here's JD3. What's up, brother? More places should serve lunch food all day. I don't want a biscuit after a night shift. # serve lunch all day. JD3. Does
Well, I'm the
breakfast
opposite. I love breakfast the whole day. Like, there's a lot of I'm a
Oh,
big
you're a breakfast.
breakfast.
See, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not a
love
breakfast
breakfast.
guy.
I can eat breakfast any time of the day.
It's like my girl.
Love it.
She loves breakfast food, man. I do not like breakfast food.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Are you like
Love it.
pancakes and waffles, or are you like eggs and
Everything.
sausage?
Eggs,
Oh,
omelet,
the whole thing. Okay. Okay.
pancakes, waffles. Not a big French toast guy. I like it, but it's too messy. I hate sticky stuff. You can ask there's nothing more I hate in my life than stickiness. I don't want
So you're out on syrup. You're not a pancake guy.
well,
Are you just anal about not getting it on your hand?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I love syrup, but yeah, I don't like it.
I was
I
gonna
do
say,
not like
syrup.
I do not like sticky stuff. So there's kids around and they're sticking everything up.
Johnny Mac's out on it.
I am unhappy.
Here's Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Member for 10 months. Thank you, brother. If it's all about execution, then can't they throw the ball with good execution just as much as executing the run?
Everything about football, Tyler, is execution. I don't know how many times to say this. I mean,
Here's
what
Jason.
do you think they're doing out there?
Yeah.
Like when Grant Calcaterra misses a block, what do you think that is? When Matt Pryor misses a block, what do you think that is?
Yeah.
They don't know the job?
I would say
Haven't been taught the job?
I would say don't set up your AJ go route. So I'm relying on a Calcaterra block. Not a good move. Jason Gates says, I made another live show. Finally, I just wanted to say what an epic comeback, but the first half, yikes. Hopefully this jump starts our offense. Go Birds. Yeah, I agree. Here we go. William again. Guess Jalen was talking to Bobo about the weather. I don't know. Brian Fleming says, I agree with J-Mac. The game plan will only change if they lose, and we're going right back to conservative to start. I don't like it, but it's reality. I don't know. I don't agree. I think the way AJ
I don't even know. I'd say they're too conservative by nature, just from their philosophy right now, which again is based on turnovers. But again, the start stuff, like you can't start much more aggressive than they were planning to start in Kansas City. You literally can't. So again, I go back to the overriding fact, and this is what I was talking about with the Eagles exec, was that how many times have you heard me say this, Zander? I'm going to say it again. Clock it up. This might be the millionth time.
All right.
People don't judge play calls. They judge play results. No offense to any of you, because I have no fucking idea. You have no idea. Every single one watching this show right now, listening to the show, including me, including Zander, has any idea what play call they're making on a particular
right,
and what
I
went
agree
wrong.
with you that we judge,
And especially on the TV copy, where you can't even see.
Yeah, the TV copy is crazy. The ultimately too is a little better, but I agree with you. We judge the results, but you have to admit also that there is degrees to which certain play calls are actually better calls. Now we're not privy to the information.
I've literally had this discussion. I've told the story many times, not with Nick, because Nick's not going to give anything away, but I had this discussion with Doug, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times you guys don't realize where they have a great play call dialed up and it doesn't work for execution reasons. And to Doug's credit, said, so a lot of times I bleep shit up.
Yeah.
And
that's what I wanted to know, because I know we judge results, but play calling still does matter. It's just hard to gauge.
It matters, but it's extremely overrated.
Okay. Brian, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Here's Brian Pump. What's a show without a pumper super? What's up, Pumper? Hey, fellas, any concern for a letdown at Tampa with an emotional win the week before?
Pump's easing up, because
I won't hold it against them.
I think he had the Eagles at 0-3 at this point, but
yeah, he did. He picked against the Eagles every week. He looks like he's picking against us again.
Look, I don't think they're going 17-0.
I don't know. Man. This team figures out every way to win.
I don't think. Well, they're living on the edge, man.
You know, John. Wait. I'm curious, real quick, what your thought on this is. I think it was Matt Ryan on I don't know on one of the networks who said after the game. Like if I'm the Rams, I feel really good because I think I'm every bit as good as the Eagles. And I kind of had a different perspective where I'm like, geez, if I'm the Rams, I'm demoralized because we had them dead to rights and they still figured out a way to beat us.
No, I think Kyron Williams had that great interview where everybody picked up because he said, I hate the Eagles.
No, but I agree. Everything else he said was really good.
Yeah. That's the way most players think. Like, I get the emotion of fans, but players get over losses very quickly, especially when they're on good teams. Whereas I'm sure the Rams fans were emotionally devastated by that loss. But yeah, players are different. I mean, they have to, and coaches are even more so, I would say. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're on the best team, the reigning Super Bowl champions, the worst team. You got to go back to work. You can't just sit and wallow in emotional depression. So they tend not to think that way, especially good players. So, I mean, the loss hurts. I mean, they're generally very competitive people too, but in my experience, more people are like Kyron Williams, like, all right, we have to learn from it. Yeah. How many times have you heard Jalen? Loss only is a loss if you don't learn from it. He said that numerous times.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Williams said. It's like, you know, we're going to be better prepared for them down the road. Might be wrong, maybe right. And that's why he said he hated the Eagles. It's like, but they're putting us through this adversity. It's good for us. That's general. They're very optimistic people.
No, I get it. I think the Rams similarly put the Eagles through some good adversity that they can learn from and be better from in the future.
But generally, I'm just saying athletes and coaches even more so are very, very optimistic people because they have to be. That you can't go through an NFL season being pessimistic.
Right.
It just, you're going to be a failure.
Yeah.
You don't get to that position in life by acting like woe is me, like Eeyore after a loss. You can't do it. You can't do it. You gotta turn the page as quickly as possible.
One more super chat, and then I got a question on Patullo here. Simo Mob, what's up, Simo? John is incapable of analyzing the game with nuance. He also believes that the average fan is incapable of understanding basic football concepts. John, coming right for you on this one.
Yeah, that's me, definitely. I never talk about the nuance of the game. I don't know if you've listened to this show. I don't care where you like to listen, what you think. Right there, you lose credibility because anybody knows who watches this show. No, nuance and context is all I bring day after day after day. Do I sometimes think fans don't understand basic football concepts? Guilty as charged because a lot of them don't. Some do. Some know what they're talking about.
We have a pretty good crowd here. I will say that we have a pretty good crowd.
Well, one of the things
you're talking about Twitter, dude. Like you're talking into the void in Twitter. Those people that's a
when you know one of the. I take pride because I think this is the most educated football audience there is.
I agree
for the Eagles, and hey, dude, I'm part of that.
Simo, I agree with John. Sorry, buddy. Appreciate everybody for being here. One more super chat. Joe High, what's up, dude? Execution is key, but is there something to call in plays that can't be executed because the opposing teams are not threatened by high risk plays? Good question.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think the Eagles don't stretch the field enough. The irony of this whole discussion is that I've been the one talking about this longer than anybody. Even when things were successful, I think they're too conservative. The first two games, 3 pass plays over 20. What I'm trying to say is, and obviously I'm not saying it correctly, is that just because there's only been 3 plays of 20 more air yards doesn't mean there weren't opportunities to throw it down the field more that weren't taken, is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, I wonder how much that straight jacket, like where they have them, you know what I mean? Like tight window, don't put the ball in harm's way. And I almost think like that's maybe lessened his propensity to pull the trigger in those moments.
That's a fair point. I would argue that is probably partially true, at least.
Here's Dirty Air. He says, last one, and then I got to do this Patullo question. We're running out of time. A lot of superstats today. I do appreciate everybody. I thought we had good conversation off them as well. Dirty Air, 2 for 3 opening drive touchdowns. How many teams have done that? I'd argue our defense should step up in the first half.
Well, I thought the defense was tremendous as far as the red zone.
Me too. I thought they look. That's Fangio in a nutshell, right? Bend but don't break, and that was a team you're going to have to bend but don't break with.
I think the defense, in a lot of ways, won the game by keeping them in the game.
Yeah, me too.
Because if one or two of those are touchdowns, game's over.
The game's over. Done.
So yeah, I think the defense is ahead of where I thought it would be with all the changes. Right. Pretty significantly ahead. And yeah, their red zone numbers are crazy as far as production amongst their peers. So I think they kept them in the game by limiting them to field goals.
Yeah, good stuff, Johnny Mac.